The purpose of this video is to help those who are establishing an indoor residual spraying malaria control program by looking at the facilities and procedures of an established program, such as the one in the Mpumalanga Province in South Africa. This program is managed by the Mpumalanga Province and is one of the best examples of a government-controlled facility in Africa. In particular, the video concentrates on the training of spraymen for an IRS program, as the success of any IRS program is built on the correct application of insecticide. The Mpumalanga Malaria Control Program training camp has the following facilities: accommodation for trainees, a kitchen, a store, offices, a data capture room, bathrooms, spray practice walls, and a laboratory for entomological studies. Each trainee is issued with the following equipment: a WHO specified spray pump, a face shield, a face mask, rubber gloves, a cap with neck coverage, long overalls, and boots. The Mpumalanga training program consists of two types of training just before the commencement of the spraying season: refresher training for experienced spraymen over a 5-day period, and comprehensive training for new temporary recruits. This training takes 10 days to complete and includes theory as well as practical sessions. The theory consists of an overview of residual spraying, IRS success factors, maintenance and handling of spraying equipment, safety, health and environmental issues, safe handling, mixing, storing and disposal of insecticides, and record keeping through control sheets. Government officials from the Malaria Control Program conduct the training with assistance from suppliers of insecticides and equipment in a good example of a public-private partnership. Practical training sessions are conducted using practice walls. All of the initial training on the walls is carried out with the spray tanks full of water, but no actual spraying is done. One of the most important aspects of the practical training is to maintain the correct spraying rhythm or tempo to ensure the correct insecticide dosage is deposited on the wall. During this part of the training, spraymen are taught to cover a linear meter of wall in 2.5 seconds of spraying. Another important aspect to ensure that the correct dosage is applied is to maintain the correct distance of the nozzle from the wall. This is 45 centimeters. At the beginning of the training, a 45 centimeter long stick is attached to the front of the nozzle to get a feel for the correct spraying distance. The stick is later removed and the trainee is expected to maintain the correct distance without the aid of the stick. During this phase of the training, the trainee is periodically checked to ensure that the correct distance is maintained. Another aid used to reinforce this correct spraying distance is then employed. This is a string set at 45 centimeters from the wall. In the middle of a practice swath, the nozzle must almost touch the string. This string is later removed and practice is continued, but the trainee is periodically checked for correct spraying distance. The next part focuses on the fast changeover from one swath to the next. Spraymen are taught to step and spray in continuous swaths, starting from the top of the wall and continuing from the bottom in the successive swath. During training, recruits will be reminded periodically to check the pressure of their pumps. The tank pressure must always be maintained between 25 and 55 psi. If the pressure falls to 25 psi, the sprayman is to stop spraying and repressurize the spray tank to 50 psi before continuing to spray. Spraymen are also taught to periodically shake the tank to mix the solution. Because during spray operations, houses are never as simply built as a spray wall, the recruits are taught to spray in confined areas, while still maintaining the correct tempo and distance from the wall. A row of stones is used to simulate a confined space, such as a passage in a house. Towards the end of the training, an important aspect is the setting up of obstacles on and against the spray practice wall, as the spraymen would encounter when spraying a house. Spraymen are taught to spray around and behind such obstacles. All the above aspects are practiced until the sprayman has perfected them, after which the sprayman starts practicing with water. All the steps are then repeated, spraying water. This is normally done on day 7 of the training program. At the end of the training, spraymen are subjected to an individual time test, spraying 10 consecutive swaths to be completed in 50 seconds. A significant deviation from the time allowed means that a recruit will have to be retrained. On the last day of training, which is day 10, the trainees are taken into the field where they have to apply what they've been taught. At this stage, they spray a house with insecticide. Each individual sprayman is accompanied by a supervisor who will check their spraying technique and rectify any mistakes. At the end of the training period, spraymen return to the communities from which they were recruited. Their equipment accompanies them so that they can be ready to commence the spraying program. Bayer Environmental Science makes use of a portable spraying wall to train supervisors and trainers when other facilities are not available. For any IRS or malaria control program to be successful, a basic entomology laboratory is essential, and the Mpumalanga Malaria Control Program is currently building a new laboratory at its training site. An insectary where mosquito colonies can be reared is necessary. Insecticide testing can also be carried out in such an insectary. A laboratory needs at a minimum some laboratory space. In order to support a malaria control program and carry out the minimum laboratory work necessary for the success of the program, a basic molecular entomology laboratory must be available. This laboratory should be equipped with an ELISA plate reader for parasite and blood meal identification. A PCR laboratory and facilities and other equipment is also necessary. Basic microscopy facilities should also form part of a laboratory for supporting malaria control programs. You should now have a better understanding of the facilities, equipment, procedures and training needed to successfully implement an IRS program. You can contact Bayer Environmental Science to advise you in this regard.